100 self-help books, and here's what I learned. Crap. From the famous How to Win Friends and Influence People to this weird biography of Dan Bilzerian and his hedonistic lifestyle. I was an avid reader by the time I started my self-improvement journey. You can actually tell by that nerdy glasses. Alright, so you might be asking questions like, what are the top 3 books that I really recommend for you to read? And if I were to give the best advice out of the 100 books that I've read, what would it be? And the most important question, do I actually remember all 100% of the information that I've read? So let's get straight into it. Alright, so the best advice that I can give to you after reading about 100 books is to start taking action. And I have to actually rearrange all of this for the video again. This might sound a very general advice, but it seems absolutely magical until you do it. I'm not saying that reading books are useless. In fact, it's one of the best habits that I've actually picked up on. And there are several books out there that I read and I didn't actually take action, but it still shapes the way that I think. And as you may already know, thoughts leads to feelings, feelings leads to action, and good action will lead to getting the results that you actually want in your life. Previously, I say take action because when you're reading a book, you're not just consuming the author's knowledge and perspective towards life. Some of the author out there even spend decades of their time into perfecting a certain skill. They literally put their heart and soul into writing a book. Again, when you're reading a book, you're not just reading an information of what the author has done through their life. You're actually taking a shortcut and saving years, if not decades, of your time from not falling into the same hole like they did years ago. Again, don't just read the book, go out there and take action. I once fell into the trap thinking that, well, I'm reading a book. Even though I don't take action after reading that book, it's still so much better than, just playing games or scroll through social media. I mean, even though that's partially true, but sometimes I feel like reading a book is more like a coping mechanism and it's actually an excuse to not do something in your life. Now, what I'm about to say next might shock some people, but I get asked by my friends a lot of times, Albert, do you still remember all the information that you have read? The honest answer is not really. I know I feel bad for making this video, but reading book actually changes me for the better, and here is why. There's actually a quote that me and you, who actually reads on a daily basis, can absolutely relate to. And here's the quote. Ralph Waldo once said, wait, who's Ralph? Let me search real quick. Who is Ralph Waldo? Alright, that's good to know. So Ralph Waldo once said, I cannot remember the books I've read any more than the meals I've eaten. Even so, they have made me. Although we don't retain or remember 100% of the information from the books that we've read, every single book out there has their golden nuggets. And it is that simple golden nugget that will shape us the way we think and the way we live life in a positive manner. Even though it's just one page out of the 400-page book, or it's just one paragraph or just one sentences, and it is that one sentence that could potentially change the trajectory of our life completely. The next thing I really want to talk about is some books are not worth reading at all, but some books are worth to reread 100 times. Now you might be asking a question like, Albert, why should I reread a book when I've already read it and I know the point of the book? I have that exact question and I have a story to tell you about that. I once read this book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. In 2017, I reread that book every single month for a year. You heard that right. I reread that book 12 times. And it is that book that shaped my thoughts and my perspective and how I act towards money. And it's one of the small reasons why I start to make $10,000 a month. The book taught me to eliminate my limiting belief about money and shapes the way I think about money in order to attract more wealth into my life. I really suggest you guys to find a book that you've read before and try to reread again. And trust me, you will find new information that you thought you have read before, and it will absolutely shock you. It's like as if you've read that book for the first time again. It sounds magical, it sounds hocus pocus, wishy-washy, whatever you want to call it, but it actually happens to me quite a lot. Now, it's not because I have memory loss or Alzheimer's, but when you read a good book and you take action after reading that book, let's say you read a book of Think and Grow Rich, right? After you read that book, you go out there and you take action. Let's say you give it time before you reread that book and you spend like a couple of months trying to take action out there. So you go back and reread that book again with the new perspective and the new lessons that you have gained. And when you reread that book, not only you will relate with the book much more, but you will also absorb something new, the new knowledge for you to apply again. Now, Tai Lopez once said that,
here in my garage, you know what I like a lot more than materialistic things? Knowledge.
I'm just kidding. He said that honestly, you just need to grab free books. Just read them and take action, reread them, and you'll be set for life. These are the top 3 books that you should definitely give it a read. Number 1 is The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz. Number 2, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And the last one is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Just in case if you only need 3 books in your life, and that will be my personal suggestion. So just read and execute. The next thing I want to talk about is don't be afraid to throw bad books. Oh, this is just for content, okay? This book is actually good. I really suggest you guys reading this. It's David Goggins, Can Hurt Me. Alright, let's put it back. Now, by saying this, I'm not actually mean that you should just throw your books out and burn it down, but sometimes you don't let the books control you. Now, I once read a book that it was just so bad, but somehow I just keep on reading it until the end just for the sake to finish that book. In the first place, I could have just stored that book back into the bookshelf and just grab another book to read it. And honestly, some of the books that I've read is actually repetitive. They explain their point in the first 50 pages, but the rest of the 100 pages, they just keep on explaining the same thing, just in a different context. It's like the first 50 pages is about 5 plus 5 equals 10, but then the rest of the 100 pages is about how 3 plus 7 is also 10, how 7 plus 3 is also 10. You get the point. Although I don't remember 100% of the information from the books, again, sometimes it's just that one page in a 300-page book that you need to read in order to change your life completely. Some books taught me perspective towards life, towards money, towards relationship, towards management, towards leadership, communication, a lot of things. And those perspective leads me to feelings, feelings leads to action, and action leads to results, and which is why I'm sitting here right now making a YouTube video for you guys. Remember, if you go easy in life, then life will be hard. But if you go hard in life, then life will be easy. Find comfort in discomfort. See you next video. Cheers.